So I start hearing bands and they're writing their own music, and Nirvana starts coming on the radio, Dead Kennedys, like punk and hardcore and all this stuff they start feeding me everything. Toys in the Attic by Aerosmith I had on vinyl. Like, people were just giving me this stuff, and I was a little guy. So I'm sneaking away to listen to music with these kids that are musicians. My stepfather, the music pastor, and my mom, the wife of the Baptist music pastor, are not letting me get away with anything.
Hey, everybody, this is Jeff Allen. Welcome to Who Gave Jeff Allen a Podcast. We're looking for you. We're going to find you. There's a billion of you out there, 3 billion, 6 billion. One of you gave me this podcast, and I'm going to hold you accountable for that. What is going on before we get to our guest today? I'm back out on the road starting this week in Texas, which you won't know that because by the time this gets aired, I'll be out of Texas, so that really doesn't do any good. Our sponsor, our one and only sponsor, Nordic Wave Cold Plunge, still haven't sold one. We're waiting. One of you, come on, man. Jeff 150, save $150. And again, I'm telling you, there's so many benefits to cold plunging. Anyway, what else is going on? Well, we had 2 weeks with the grandkids, all 4 grandkids for 2 weeks. And it's interesting through all that chaos and all that noise and all that children, when they leave, Tam and I looked at each other last night and we just go, I guess it's just us now. And we're pretty boring people. But there was a part of me that was kind of glad to see them go. And then there was another part of me when they left going, now we're just back to normal life. We love those kids so much. They made fun of me. I love that. My granddaughter wrote on the dirt on my window, "My grandpa is bald." Made me laugh. Every time I looked in my rearview mirror, I saw that my grandpa is bald. It disappointed me today when I washed the car. I was kind of hoping I could keep that on there, but can't do it. Anyway, our guest today is an interesting. Tommy Green. As a musician, a speaker, a former frontman of the metalcore band Sleeping Giant. For more than 2 decades, he's used music as a platform to encourage people toward hope, purpose, and a deeper faith in Christ, known for blending powerful storytelling with authentic conviction and advocating for vulnerable communities through nonprofit work and awareness initiatives. Whether he's on stage performing, speaking, or serving others behind the scenes, his mission remains the same: to use every opportunity to point people toward the truth, healing, and lasting hope. Today, Tommy joins us to talk about faith, creativity, reaching the next generation, and how music can become a powerful doorway to life-changing conversations. I love that. What a great intro. I didn't write it, but just prove to everybody out there I can read. I learned that from school. That's right. We're getting to a point in society where maybe that'll be the next to go. Writing is gone, math is gone, and so maybe reading will be next. Just have the machine will read for you and get it on. So anyway, welcome, Tommy Green.
Thank you.
You didn't always sing. You've been in 2 different sides of this metal. First of all, heavy metal. Of all the music, why the devil's music? That's all. Why the devil's music, Tommy?
Oh man, didn't you know? That's the greatest. That's the whole thing, dog. Boring God, fun devil, right? What are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? I got one life to live.
I will tell you that I lift weights to heavy metal because I found lifting weights to Barry Manilow didn't really work. Mandy just doesn't inspire you to pump iron,
Yeah, I get that. For sure.
So your first band was not faith-based.
Which one?
And again, I've had these discussions with other musicians from secular and Christian. I said, there's no such thing as Christian music. The notes are the notes. I mean, the chords are the chords. The drum is the drum. It's the lyrical content and the message behind the music, which should start an interesting conversation with all forms of music. I told this story before, but my son was listening to some really heavy rap one day. I'm walking by. He's probably 15, and really just this angry, foul rap music. And I started at the door. I listened to the whole song, and when the song ended, I said, I'm not going to be one of these fathers to tell you what to listen to. It probably would be counterproductive anyway if I told you what you should listen to. But I will tell you this: all art should feed a part of your soul. Everything from paintings to music to movies to television shows, some part of your soul should be fed. And I said that music has been written by a group of people who have felt that the culture has had their boot on their neck, and they're hitting back at a culture that has held them down. So as my son and a white suburban boy, what are you hitting back at? Or what part of your soul is that angry or you're hitting back at? And he just gave me that deer in the headlights look. And 2 days later, I walked by and he was listening to Aerosmith. So, and it was so funny too, because he goes, "You know these guys?" I go, "I was kissing Carol Scarlatti in the back seat of my car to Dream in 1975." So what drew you to metal? And was it something that I guess you could answer that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I started my family was like, my mom and my dad, when I was first born, we lived in San Francisco. My dad worked for Union Pacific Railroad. So my dad and my mom were together when I was, they met in high school, got pregnant young, and got married, making it right. And then moved to St. Louis, Missouri, with the railroad, and then split. And my mom and I moved back to California. My dad stayed in St. Louis. And my mom, kind of during that process, I was probably, 4. She had kind of a faith thing. They were both like Irish Catholic kids from the Sunset in San Francisco. And then she became a born again Christian during that time. And she ended up meeting a guy a couple years later that was the music pastor, youth pastor guy at this little Baptist church she was going to. And that became my stepfather, Don. They got married when I was 6. He's a music major at UOP and was a jazz, disc jockey and, all that stuff. Like he worked at the radio station to finish his music degree. And anyways, music was around, but I wasn't allowed to listen to it. They were that era, right? Of like, it's the 80s, it's the like whole thing. And for me, I was little, but what I'm saying, like we go into the 80s and it's like the music starts getting rad in the streets. And so I am stealing rap tapes from friends of mine and recording them onto the red, Disney cassette storybook thing, because I can't get away with listening to music. And then meanwhile, my dad's mom, my Grandma Green, is living 45 minutes away, and me and her will watch OMTV Raps together because she just can see that I love music, but like I can't seem to get anything. So I'd buy little singles at Tower Records and keep them at her house, and she would do the dishes and we'd listen to like Heavy D and the Boys and like Biz Markie and all this stuff. And I loved Eazy-E, and I started liking rap. And I was hiding it. It is probably 1986, 87, 88. We moved from California when my stepfather was finishing theological school. We moved to Seattle, outside of Seattle, Washington, a little town called Puyallup. 1990, 1991 maybe. So we land in the epicenter of like one of the coolest movements of music to happen, in my opinion, in the last 40 years. Like we get there and he's a youth pastor with all these like Seattle grunge rock, punk rocker kids that are into everything. And I am like going crazy because I didn't realize that you could play your own music. So I start hearing bands and they're writing their own music, and I'm Nirvana starts coming on the radio, Dead Kennedys, like punk and hardcore and all this stuff they start feeding me everything. Toys in the Attic by Aerosmith I had on vinyl. Like people were just giving me this stuff and I was a little guy. So I'm sneaking away to listen to music with these kids that are musicians. My stepfather, the music pastor, and my mom, the wife of the Baptist music pastor, are not letting me get away with anything. So I legit am like running away from home by the time I'm 12, 13 years old because I just can't stomach it. So start doing drugs and start doing all that stuff. But it's like, I just want to listen to music. Would you guys just let me listen? I want to play. And so I got to play in the band and then I got to play drums. And so I'm playing drums at church with my stepdad and going out of my mind because the music is horrible. It's so bad. It's so stupid. And it's like, it's just that era, like, as the deer panteth. And I'm like, get me out of here on every level. So it's anything I can do to play. So I went from really loving hip hop and kind of understanding like lyrical content and patterns. And I really loved the music. I got a kick out of it. But my favorite song when I was a little tiny kid, I'm 5 years old, with my Granite Green, was Jump by Van Halen. And we would put it on in her little Cadillac Eldorado and drive down the freeway at full volume. And I thought it was so awesome the way music would just like wash over you. So I liked all of it. And then going through my adolescence, I could play punk rock. I could play like simple, straightforward, like street style music. And so that lent itself to like, I'm going to play as fast as I can. And so I'm playing drums in these punk rock bands and stuff like that. And it's awesome. Just everything heavy I want to play. And then right around the time I was 15 years old, I really started hearing a version of metal that was more underground than the mainstream. It was, we joke about it. We say it's kids that were too angry to play punk rock and not talented enough to play metal. It's hip hop for punk rock kids, and it's called hardcore. And it was started in the East Coast in many ways, like late 70s, early 80s. And then it kind of evolved into this more popular style of music, especially in the early to mid 90s. And so anyway, so I start hearing a frequency and a sound that resonated with me. And if I can be honest, you're right in terms of like, it is the lyrical content. Sure. It's the same notes. I would just say it's the quality, like it's the quality of the band. It's the quality, it's the spiritual quality of the dudes in the band. It's what they're carrying. And so in general, that was where I first heard hardcore music, and something in me kind of came alive hearing that. What ended up happening was I was in profound pain, and I found a frequency and a sound of music that resonated with me.
Right.
And I wrote it, and that's where I went. And so, and then sort of into the faith thing is like start playing music in these areas. And I would say in a lot of spaces, there's a dude in the Bible who meets the Lord Jesus and gets sort of healed radically in every way. And he's living in the graveyard, and it's like this whole thing. And the Lord heals him, profoundly. And then he's like, let me go with you. And the Lord's like, no, stay. And so for me and my friends, we would just say when we all got saved and became Christians in the space, we just didn't leave. So that's where the transition was just really easy for us. We had history and years of putting on shows and being in bands and booking shows and like doing all this stuff. And so it was our world. And truth be told, I would joke about it and say it's almost like a country called Hardcore Slavia or something. It's like it's an unreached people group, and half the dudes are going to try to fight half the guys in your youth group, and the other half of the guys are going to try to sleep with all the girls in your youth group, and like no one's going to like them. But the next Martin Luther King Jr. is going to be some kid from my scene that is not stopping. And so that's like our world that we came from. And so we were not received. So we just
a group of people.
Yeah, it's 100. I would say I've been taught some stuff. Maybe if there's three types of culture, like high culture, pop culture, and folk culture. Like high culture is the symphony, pop culture is top 40, folk culture is street hip hop or something. It's 100% belief. Like high culture has all the influence, pop culture has all the mass, but folk culture has all the heart. And that's our culture. It was 100% heart. It's unbreakable. If it's wrong, it's way wrong. When it's right, it's really right. But like, that's just what it was. So that resonated with me as a really hurt and profoundly fractured kid. And so that's where I was. That's where I was making music that I felt deep, profoundly inside.
Okay, now, and well, I'll tell you what. I'll go to one of the questions here. Okay, did Christ lead you into music, or did music become the thing that led you to Christ, or was, I don't think it was music. We can talk about your story. Everybody has a bottom, and to make that shift. You know, I shared this 1,000 times. Got me into Alcoholics Anonymous was I beat my 6-month-old son in a crib. You know, I was drunk and coked up, and did that. And when I realized what I had done, it was such a profoundly evil thing.
Yeah.
That the next day I got help. You know, and that's what put me on my path was, you know, they said, pray. I said, to what? And that was my thing. So you, I'd rather just let you lead into the story. I'm sure you've told it, but I guarantee you my audience is not familiar with it. So just go as deep as you want, or where you want to go, or, you know.
Oh, well, man, I mean, let me answer your first question is like, you know, if it's sports, you know, it's bigger than the, you know, the whatever the ball is that you're playing with. And I think God is really, really, he's ineffable, but I just would say that Jesus Christ is he's so brilliant. He's so brilliant at helping us find him.
Yeah.
And he's the dude that causes the sun to shine. So like he always goes first, and then we end up responding somehow. And so I would say to your question, you know, was it music or and it's like, yeah, because wherever we are trying to find the heaven that we're looking for, that's a seed, in my opinion, of the presence and the quality of the love of God. And so we're just trying to get away from the pain, or we're trying to find the thing we're looking for. Ultimately, we're looking to transcend somehow the moment or the time or the season in our life, or the pain that we're in, or the relationships that we're connected to, or the world that we see. Like, we're constantly trying to like transcend. And so I think whatever leads us to that feeling of like, I can go up this way.
Wow.
Or I can get away from the pain. That's us crying out for the love of God. Forgive me. Whew. So
oh no,
it was both of it. It's all of it. And he saw in me a kid that was alone and fractured and broken and abused and all sorts of stuff. And was just like, in some way, it's almost like many years later, it was like the analogy that he gave me in a point of time when I was really losing it again, about 8 years ago, was the parable of the little kid that brings his lunch to the group, and the impression that I got, I don't know how to talk about it I don't know how to make sense of it, but it was like in every Bible story that I would read, the Bible, the scriptures were the one book that it felt like talked back to me. There was something living in that. And I would read these stories. And when I first became like a believer in Christ and was trying to follow him, it was almost like the instruction was, read my story, and I will mentor you through these stories. And sometimes you will be one of the characters. Sometimes you'll be more than one of the characters. And so at different points in time, that was how it was. And it was probably 8-9 years ago, I was reading a passage, and I was at the end of my rope in a lot of ways. And there's a story, a little kid who brings his lunch, and it was like the Lord broke it down and said, Tommy, sometimes in your life, you're going to be the disciples, and I'm going to give you something, and you're going to give it to them, and you get to do a miracle, and it's awesome. And sometimes you get to be like me, and people are going to come to you, and something good is going to happen. Other times you're like the crowd, and you're pissed and you're tired and you need to sit down. And other times you're going to be like the little kid that brings the lunch and you give me something and I turn it into a miracle that you could never have done. And in this time in particular, and it's still profound to me, is he said, and Tommy, most of this, sometimes you're the lunch and you're going to get shattered. And he said, but I always get all the pieces at the end. And so I think from 4 years old, 5 years old, getting, going through sexual abuse as a 4-year-old kid, divorce and the fracture of family, and where is the bigger version? Where's my dad? I don't know where he is. I don't know what's going on. There's all the swirl around all of it. There's these broken pieces just flying off into creation. And I am trying to figure out what to do to put myself back together again. And the only places that I can find comfort are all sort of broken. And so, but he's there and he's gathering all those little pieces up, and then he's going to give them back to you at a certain point. And so I think the music was one of those things that helped to hold a lot together. And in that, he was like, I've been gathering them all up, bro. I've heard every prayer. I know all the dreams. I know all the fantasies you've tried to live out to get away from your life. I know what you're looking for. And it's me. And he's so kind in putting us together that it's like, that's the journey. So yeah, music, and it was always him. It was always him behind it all. So that's what I would say to that. And then just in general, it's like, we just make a mess of our lives. That's what we do. Like, I'm not good at it now. I'm not good at life now. Like I've been a believer for a long time. I suck worse at life now than I did back then. It's just different. Like, I'm not immediately trying to tarnish and destroy my living destiny like I was, but like, dude, sin's like a disease, bro. And it's just like I am pathologically infected with my own garbage all the time. And so it's just different. But yeah, to get into it was a horrible story. It's a horrible story. And I'm like hesitant to be okay. At 18, I had an affair with someone else's partner 2 weeks out of graduating high school. There was a couple, they were a little bit older than me. And within a couple weeks of graduating, I end up having this affair with this other person. And then her partner ended up ending his own life. Wow. And when he ended his own life by suicide, he wrote in the letter to me at 18, please help her through this. So I'm the dude that cheated on someone else's partner. I'm the dude that feels like I took maybe the last shred of hope that he had. I'm fully double-minded because I'm trying to be his friend, but I'm totally with his partner. I'm falling in love with it. It's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm 18 years old and I have no grid for what is happening to me. And so what do? You try to do what you learn from the world, which is like, well, love is all that matters. Like, love is going to make it right. So what do? You try to love your way through it with the love that you have, which is usually pretty selfish and pretty twisted up. And the best parts of it can get redirected real bad. And if you don't have, in my opinion, the spirit of true love guiding you, you're just going to create like a monstrosity of your life. That's been my experience. I've seen it a lot. That's not everybody. You're all better than me. I'm just saying I'm the last in the line. I'm the worst at doing this. So I end up trying to like, let me make it right to this dude. And I'm going to commit to this person. And this is my life. And I'm going to love her. And within just a matter of a few years, it all blew up again. And it was a whole thing that happened. So for me, it put me at the end of myself to realize that I could be that person that would essentially steal from someone else. Oh, P.S. He had been in like a pretty gnarly car accident a handful of years before. And so he was actually paralyzed and she was taking care of him. So he was a quadriplegic and she was taking care of him. And so I'm the dude that would sleep with the guy in the wheelchair's partner. Like, I'm the worst kind of deceptive, twisted, selfish, foolish moron. And then that dude basically ends his own life. So I'm like David in the Bible. I'm just like,
right.
I just sent this dude over now in the years since, because here's the other thing they don't tell you is if you stay alive long enough, you'll watch God take all sorts of stuff full circle, and you'll be like, oh my God, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I just needed to stay alive, but I was going to kill myself when that happened because I didn't have a framework for God. I didn't believe it. I knew demons were real because I felt like I'd been tormented by them, but I didn't have a grid for like God was like not a thing. So the only way for me to balance the scales karmically was like, I just ended this dude's whole world. I should just kill myself. And that's an easy way to balance the scales. And so I'm there, and it was like I was interrupted. Like, the best way to say it, and what I've said a lot, which other people, if you've heard the story, I'm so sorry. But it was like what I heard, what was impressed upon me was everything you think you know about me is wrong. Can I change your mind? And I was like, well, you better hurry, because like, you know, it's just, and here's what's crazy about God. And this is like to his credit, all glory. He's patient. So he didn't hurry. He let me live in sin for a real long time until I ran out of rope and I ran out of road, and there was enough beauty in the journey that he kept me breathing. And then when everything was gone, I'm like, oh no, this is the fruit of the life I built for myself. I don't know a thing about how to live. I don't know what real love is. I have no grid for how to do this. What have I done? And at that moment, that was when, I don't know when I like got saved. I just remember at a certain point, I didn't know him. And then at a certain point, it was like, I didn't know you were real. Can I tell everybody? Like, can I just tell everyone? I want to tell everybody. I had no idea that you were real. Like, I thought it was control, and the minute he was real to me, I was just like, what have I been fighting you for? Like, what is the matter with me? It was unbelievable. So that happened, you know, I don't know. I graduated at 18, you know, that probably happens 3-4 years later. And then I ended up just staying in the hardcore scene that I was a part of in Southern California, and started a Bible study for a bunch of kids that would never that were like me. I'm not going to church. I wasn't. So that turned into a home group, and probably within a couple months of that, there's 50, 60, 70 kids packing in this apartment, and we're like gypsy. We're jumping the fence at the apartment to baptize kids in the hot tub. We're like, it just does. We're getting kicked out. It's like it's a whole thing. And I had a mentor that was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, nothing, not church or whatever. And so he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. And so he had me read the Bible again. He's like, what did they do? So anyway, so for me, that was my sort of foray into, ministry. So we started a group.
Interesting, because you were raised with the so-called structured church, yep. And it drove you as far away from that as you could possibly get. So yep. Why wouldn't you just have this chaotic, you know? And you know, because we need that. I mean, again, God will meet you right where you're at, and. He's the greatest improviser of lives. So believe me, the last place I thought I'd ever be would be on my knees, just saying, "Look, I don't know what you are, I don't know who you are, but I know what I am, and I'm a mess, an absolute mess. And if you are who you claim to be, then I'm yours." And
bro,
it's just literally an overnight. Like this veil gets lifted off your eyes. You know, it's funny. One of the things I saw doing research for this, where you talked about Psalm 51. I've been living in Psalm 51 for 30 years as a believer. You know, King David's cry out after Bathsheba. You know, and you said you heard it in a metal song. Yeah.
There was an old hardcore band from Erie, Pennsylvania called Disciple. And I remember that it was like he says, have mercy on me according to your unfailing love. And I remember thinking, what is he singing? Like, I knew they were a Christian band, but then according to your great compassion, blot out my transgression. And I was like, he's singing a psalm. And then when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's a Disciple song. So again, you know, the breadcrumb of God just leading you. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to put it. He's incredible, man. He's incredible.
All right. Here's one. I like this question. As a comedian, I sometimes wrestle with I'm not trying to hide the fact that so anyway, I sometimes wrestle with wanting to get the biggest laugh while representing Christ well. Do you feel similar tension when you're writing music? How do you balance creating something great without compromising the message? Because I have jokes. Again, I have a cesspool for a brain. So stuff pops in there, and you go, well, I can't open that one up at the church, but it makes me laugh. I mean, it's funny. So I'll call my hedonistic friends and go, here's one for you, straight from the pit of hell. But so when you're putting things together, does your brain shock you at times? I mean, the thoughts that come in sometimes,
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Then I'm not alone.
Dude. And it's like, I think that comedians are like the last truth tellers. I think that comedians are like the prophets. That's why I think that they're getting their moment right now, is because God's trying to speak. It's interesting. So the fact that you've got comedy, the fact that you've got jokes is awesome. Like, I think comedy is a superpower. And when I was little, I would say that's what I thought I wanted to do. Like, I saw a Robert Klein on Broadway special in 1985 at the end. It was taped at the end of the Muppet movie on a VHS. And I watched him make a group of people laugh. And I was like, whoa, I was in awe that was a thing.
That was a great special.
And so it was so good. I remember he talked about a chunk of frozen urine being stuck to the fuselage of a plane. There was like a crack in the plane and a chunk of frozen urine got stuck. And he said a Pittsburgh, if you will. And I died laughing. I was like 5, and I would rewind it and watch it over and over. My mom would be like, Thomas, quit that part. So I just remember thinking, like, it's awesome. The reason I say that, Jeff, is like the fact that you've got funny is a superpower. And I wish I was better at that. I'm not. So I get to do the other side of it. I think comedians always joke about how there's two people they're really good at this whole speaking thing. And it's like comics and preachers. It's like a same thing. So I just landed in the preacher role because I'm not smart enough to be a comedian. So, but I know that you've got the jokes that day. You got to keep the jokes secret. If comedy is tragedy plus time, you just got to wait sometimes. That much I know. You just got to give it a little bit of time. And then
there was a guy back in the 80s in LA. I remember the shuttle crash, which was a very tragic thing. And that night he did 8 or 10 shuttle jokes, and they were booing him off the stage. He goes, shut up. You'll be telling them by Thursday.
It's a whole thing, man. So yes, for me, I would say your jokes are probably better. Your jokes are better than my thoughts. I have like horrific thoughts, and that's where I go there. So yes, I'm shocked sometimes where I go. But one of the things I'm discovering is like, and I'll just say this to be like woo woo and weird about it, is like, there's plenty of times when that ain't us. So it's okay.
Yeah. My fear is at 70 years old, my thoughts just start coming out because I have no filter. That's what frightens me.
Yeah.
I do the joke about just wearing a Bluetooth so that when I talk out loud at the grocery store, people are actually thinking I'm actually talking to another human being, so they don't lock me up. I always say my wife is looking for reasons to commit me. I know she is. She wants the money.
Awesome.
That's a joke, by the way, for the 4 of you while listening to this that don't understand. All right, what comes first, the melody, the lyrics, or the message? Walk us through that. By the way, I want to ask you this, because as a creative, there are different ways. Jerry Seinfeld is famous for discipline. He would sit down every day at the same time for an hour or 2 hours, and he'd put a red X in the calendar. And the key was to not break the red X chain of days in a row. And he said, some days I'd create, some days I wouldn't, but I would do the process. I have never even remotely been close to that discipline. So my process is always something happens. I jot a note and go, hey, I wonder if people will relate to that. And then I'd go on stage and I would tell the story. And if you can kind of get a feel for if there's a connection. So does something maybe in a Bible reading and a Bible study hit you, and then you think, wow, I wonder if I can put some music to that, or do you come up with the beat first, the music first, or?
Yeah, it's changed over time. And I'll say it's fully, for me, it's like I have things that I do every day. When it comes to like, I don't usually sit down and go, I'm going to have a whole bank of like lyrical ideas, or I don't have ideas for songs. I have ideas for sounds and like rhythm that I think would be cool. My favorite thing to do is to hear the song, figure out where stuff should go, move stuff around, and then I usually write to the song. So I try to create moments for myself in the day-to-day where I'm receiving something, like spiritually, I'm thinking, I'm processing, I'm putting stuff down. And then what'll end up happening is I'll find the spaces for it down the road. So no, I don't. If I have 45 minutes a day, I'm going to sit and hand journal, even though I think that's probably smart for me right now, is like, just start writing longhand because it'll help my brain. That's probably good, but I probably wouldn't write songs. I'd probably just be writing thoughts and stuff like that. Like when I write books, I usually dictate. Like I talk better than I write. So I will talk that stuff out. And then Chrissy Green functions like a really awesome editor, ghostwriter person, and she knows how my brain works. So she ends up like helping to flush the ideas out. So for me, I talk when I want to write, but when it comes to lyrics, if I don't have anything happening in here, nothing's coming. It doesn't matter. I'll just be like, yeah, I'm not going to write anything right now because I don't believe it yet. So when that sometimes it'll just land immediately, like, and I'll be like, I can write to that tomorrow, and it's on. And I'll usually have stuff coming, but when I have to sit and think about it too much, it's usually going to be a bad idea. So, and my first draft is always pissed and angry and frustrated. And then my writing partner has to be like, hey man, we got to elevate that. And I go, and then the second version is always better. So it's like the first one is like, I'm going to write about why I'm upset that there's sexual abuse with clergy and cover up culture. And I'll start writing this stuff down, send it over. It matches perfectly. And then Joey's like, taught me. And I'm like, fine. So then I go back and I got to like make it about something that's actually going to be beneficial for people. And then it ends up better. So usually second pass is usually better than the first. That's what I'd say. But for me, I like writing to the song. I like hearing the song first and going, yeah, I like that. And then stuff will start happening for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's kind of like my first draft of any comment, response to an angry email, is you delete that, and
for sure.
Yeah. That human part of you, and then there's that, the new nature part of you that says, you know what, maybe you can buffer that,
just a little bit.
It is one of my children too,
Yeah, sure.
Well, anyway, we have a common interest. I work with the Anti-Predator Project out of Miami with trafficking. They a very small organization. He deals more with training law enforcement on what to look for, and especially small towns that they. I was on stage in, I think, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, a couple years ago, sharing about the Anti-Predator Project, and a woman came up to me in tears and said they just lost 2 girls at a Walmart. They just pull up, they ask for directions, and then they toss them in a van and they take off. So it's just brazen. What was it, a personal thing with you, or it's just something you looked for, or God put it on your heart that this was something?
Really it was, we were at a conference, a church conference thing in probably 2008. And there was a guy there that kind of brought it up, and I didn't know really what to think of that. I had, if I'm honest, I had friends that were a mess. And were kind of doing street work. And so even some of their partners were like, if you want me to do stuff for you, I'm down. Like, it was just a way to make money. And so it was there, but I like didn't quite connect the dots that like, well, that's different. I didn't think about that in terms of the line between prostitution and trafficking, or, you know, just random stuff. Like I just didn't connect it. It wasn't a thing. And then he told me stories about the stuff that him and his family were doing. And at the end of that, he actually had people stand up and just pray, like, you know, if you would just be willing to help, you know. And Chrissy Green and me stood up. I mean, I just was shocked that it was a thing. And he'd adopted, I think him and his wife had adopted, I think 6 kids, 3 from the Marshall Islands, you know, 1 from the Ukraine that was in an orphanage in Ukraine, little boy who's nonverbal, like just brutal stories of like, how do we take care of kids and how do we look out? And so we prayed for that. Me and Chrissy stood up and just prayed, you know, we're willing to be willing. And I didn't really think a lot of it because we were also just kind of doing life. And we ended up, you know, crossing the path with kids that were thinking about maybe, you know, terminating a pregnancy, or like they'd gotten pregnant and the boyfriend was going to lose his football scholarship, you know, whatever. And we would just say, hey, you know, I think you can do it. If you don't want to keep your baby, call us. Like we are happy to take your baby. And it was weird because we had a multitude of different responses to that. When we started crossing paths with kids that were like in trouble, it was wild, kind of like being apart. Sometimes it would work out, sometimes it wouldn't work out, like where they would, it just their own stories. But it was like Chrissy and I were open-hearted to like, we are available. We want to do something rather than just like whatever. And that's when we started getting pregnant, having our own kids too. So it was just like a wild time. And a few years into that, I had a online sort of Bible study thing because it was connected to the band that I was in. And we were contacted through YouTube by a teenage girl. And we thought it was just kind of broken home situation. And she ended up having to leave her house because of pretty significant abuse and stuff. And then while she was in a youth recovery center, a family member showed up with a dude posing as a lawyer and essentially took her out of the organization and trafficked her. And she was found a handful of days later in the back of a bar with like 14 other girls. And so that was our introduction into like, oh my God, this like is a real human trafficking thing that just happened in front of us. And then we were trying to adopt her just to get her out of that situation. And unfortunately, because of the extent of her abuse, she ended up getting really sick and she passed away. Oh. And so she was 16 years old. And before she passed, she said to me, you know, Tommy, you have to keep sharing because there's many more like me. And I didn't really know what to do with that. I was just kind of shocked for a long time. And I didn't really feel worthy of it because I didn't believe that it was real for about 90% of the whole story. I was just like, this is bullshit. Like, there's no way that this is going down. Like, and Chrissy Green is like the real hero. She like took this kid in like a mom. And so Chrissy wrote the story called Many More Like Me. And that's kind of how this all went down. And then it was so otherworld. It just felt unbelievable, like what had happened. And about 8 months after, maybe 9 months after we had lost her, we got an email from one of the other girls that was in that brothel. And she said, I was given this piece of paper with your email on it when we were all taken by the police. She said, if I was ever in trouble, that I could call her mom. And so she ended up filling in the gaps of those days that were like, it was way wild. So we ended up, you know, trying to work with her, and it was a mess. Every time we'd get the kid out of the blast zone, it got harder, not easier. And so what happened with Run Against Traffic, which was our charity, which is now called Against Traffic Industries, what happened with that was we just thought we got to fundraise and we want to take care of long and short-term aftercare, because our experience was it's real sexy to say that you like rescue kids, but if they don't have quality places to go, they're going back multiple times. Right. And so it's like, this has got to be extensive. You got to have a lot of money, and you got to have a lot of patience, and you have to give these people time to go through their process, and they've got to have a safe place to restart being a person. And so and most people didn't even realize it was still happening here. They're thinking it's all Thailand or like Latin America, like wherever it's foreign. It's not here. It's like, no, dude, it's in your neighborhood. Right. And as people even catch up to it, I just wanted the good guys to have the money that they needed. And I didn't want to have to do it because it would kill me. So I just knew it's like, I just want to help fundraise, but I don't want to I don't want to live in it because it's going to wreck me. And I know I'll be worse for everything for it. So it was just like, how can I just do stuff to try to raise money for long and short-term aftercare? And that's where Against Traffic started. And I did a big like fundraising kickoff in 2018. And that was to earn the right to tell the story, is what I said. I just wanted to suffer because this kid had suffered, and I didn't believe her until it was kind of like getting to the end of her life. And then I really didn't even believe her until the second witness showed up and told me that it was real. And I was just like, I can't. So I ran physically from the top of Utah to the bottom I tried to do a marathon, 30 miles a day, every day for 2 weeks, to run from the top of Utah to the bottom. And I just called it Suffer Camp. I just wanted to earn the right to look at people and say, can you do something with me? Like take a walk, do a 5K. Like I ran a lot and I hurt myself doing it. Would you be willing to jump into this with me? And that was as far as I thought. Was just like, that's what I was going to do. So we did it in October of 2018, 10/18. And we did the run, and it was crazy and it was beautiful. And that's how we started it. And then in the last couple of years, Chrissy Green wrote the whole story. And so that book, Many More Like Me, we just published it ourselves, and it's out there. And it's really, really, it's a heartbreaker, and it's beautiful, and she's amazing. And so that's kind of how we got into it. So we were invited in, and then we were sort of asked to continue to share. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, we're going to make sure we link to that, right? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be sick, you guys. Thank you. Yeah, Chrissy Green, would really appreciate it. That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna certainly get the book and read it, and then we'll put it out. And I think the stories, like you said, it's easy. I think it's the first reaction is that it's so horrific, the thought that this could be going on in a country like ours, in a first world country. To bury your head or to turn away and go, it's just hyperbole. It's an isolated case. But the more you get into it, and that's what Trent, through Anti-Predator, he was working for law enforcement in DC and realized that the federal government's not going to do anything. There's so much money in it, and they're funding campaigns, they're funding, and the blind eye that the people in charge that have been charged to protect the innocent, it angers you. So anger never. It's a good motivator to maybe move you to another place to make a change. Yeah. But the fundraisers that I do, I tell people, the easy part is writing a check. The hard part is getting involved with the lives that are messed up, and they're messy lives. They are really, at times they're ungrateful, there's a lot of baggage, a lot of baggage, So
bro, they're us. They're us.
Well,
that's the point. It's like we're so it's like we've been given new life, and we're like, that guy cut me off in trap, and where am I going to make rent? And who the what? And it's like, yo, we are the same. All of us are the same.
Yeah. Right.
Anyways, you're right though. It's a lot, and so I totally agree. I love that. I love that you care. I love that you're involved, and I really, really appreciate the fact that you actually like go out and ask other people to get involved. For me, I go the other way where I'm like, listen, most of the people that I know, all they need is money. Please write a check.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you don't got to feel any kind of way about it. Like for real, like they don't even care. They're going out of business if they don't make a lot. Like think of how much it costs to take care of a person. Now multiply it by like 900,000 people. We need so much money. Like that's what all these guys need is money. So don't even think about it. Just stroke the check and then great job. Great job. You know, our problem is that we got to feel it. Don't even worry about it. Just give them the money. Give them the money they need, please. Anyways,
and you can lay your head on the pillow at night and know you did something good.
I did it. What? Because it's too big, man. How am I supposed to solve the largest international crime in the world? You don't. You can't. You're not doing it. All of us are going to do it, or it's not going to happen. But
there's a thing we're doing. I'm doing on the road now called Tikkun Olam. Have you heard that with the Jewish faith?
No.
Tikkun olam is basically it's this: when you get on your knees and complain to God about a broken world, his response to you is, yeah, I know. What are you doing to repair what's broken? That's your tikkun olam. And in the Jewish faith, it's a struggle because no matter what you choose to repair will never be repaired by the time you leave this earth. You have to understand that the problem will always be there. But your job or your role in all of this is to help repair to the best of your ability what you can do. So we're kind of pushing the tikkun olam message because it's not necessarily it's an interesting concept. So you see
it's like we're gonna just devote ourselves to lost causes regardless.
Either way,
choose your own adventure.
Time,
Can
talent,
I say this?
Time, talent, treasure. Pick it, man. Whatever you want to do, you know.
What I think one of the things that's been really helpful for me because I'm in it and I feel that for sure. They're like, well, if I can create for counter trafficking aftercare, education and prevention, if I can create for anti-trafficking something similar to what Lance Armstrong created for cancer research and not disqualify myself using steroids or whatever, like that thing's still running. He's not even a part of it. It's like, this is great. We need a money machine. And if I can build a money machine with my life, I try to put it in this sorry, I'm going to get to the point. My brain works in circles. So if I can do that and the system even begins to figure out a way to make it harder to make money doing it, because really that's the big one. If you can just make it harder for these guys to make money, I think we can pull it Back to the Future. Like Back to the Future, they're stealing nuclear stuff. You know, they used to, I try to treat it like an international crime. Like I've written like a pamphlet about it. Like what would it take to actually end trafficking in our lifetime? And it's like, well, in the 30s, bank robbers were awesome. And then within 50, 60 years, now it's a really stupid idea to try to rob a bank and it's not worth it. And then people used to hijack planes for ransom. That got real dumb, especially after 2001 when they started locking the cockpit. Now you can't get away with that crap anymore. They're stealing nuclear stuff in Russia for like vodka and like no money. Like now that's gone. Like huge crimes end over time. And right now, the wave is just like, it's too much money. It's too big. And maybe it is just like drugs where it's always going to be a thing. But that doesn't mean we can't make it way harder for these dudes to just make money. And if we stop them from making money as easy, people will stop doing it to make money a better way. So it's like, okay, cool. Let's let the world catch up to, we can change it. And maybe the final thing will just be the lock on the cockpit door. But I don't know what that'll be for 20, 30 years. Okay. So I got 50 years of fighting this thing. And hopefully the world makes it harder. Great. The thing I would say for us internally, the thing that's been helpful for me because I'm in it is there's a beautiful, beautiful saint of Serov. And what he would say, which I think starts from the inside out, when we're looking at the world and going, I want to start outside and hopefully that'll make a difference, is he says, if you acquire the spirit of peace, thousands around you will be saved. And so to complement what you're saying in terms of this initiative of like, what is the thing you're going to choose to die for, knowing it won't ever get better? Don't put and I'm a moron, but it's like, start with, do the internal work, acquire the spirit of peace so that you don't gain the whole world and lose your soul. And that's the difference, I think, is like, I can fight at a lost cause because ultimately time is on my side. Like eternity is going to be, eternity is with me. So it's not futility at all. But if you're in a worldview where like time ain't on your side, that's a horrible proposition. You know, it's just fatalist and it's nihilistic and it's like, so for me, it's like, start with Saint Seraphim, acquire the spirit of peace and allow that to be the governor, and then go give yourself to something that ain't going to work because it's all lost cause anyway. Like we're all going to die, right? So that level of like the wisdom of the church guiding makes this whole fight a lot easier to be creative. Because then I'm right, you know, it's like I'm painting the banister on the Titanic or whatever. It's like I already know it's going down, but like at least I'm having a good time and like we're gonna do some stuff. So anyway, that's all. It's like I think I love that because you're calling people into our life, which is like you're not getting out of this thing alive, but you're gonna live forever. which is great. So it's like, who cares? Like, so anyways, I like that, Jeff. I think that's awesome, man. That's cool.
That's great. I like that idea of painting the Titanic.
It's all going down, baby. Who cares? Like,
yeah, but you know what? It gives me something to do.
You might as well, right? It's like, what are we going to do? Anyways, it's cool.
Well, I think you've already answered the next one. Tell us about the nonprofit you're involved with. Give us the name of that again so we can.
It's called Against Traffic Industries. The website is againsttrafficindustries.com. And we started with running years ago. I thought we were just going to be another marathon 5K, piss everybody off on Thanksgiving Day, like whatever. But people don't like running, and my friends don't like running. And so I was doing running, and then COVID hit. No one could hang out. So then people were doing digital runs once a month. And then when people tag us wherever they were, they would just tag us, hey, I'm in Poughkeepsie, I'm running my 5K today. And it's like, it's great. Everyone's kind of involved, but it was like, whatever. And a bunch of my friends would just call and be like, Tommy, I love you. I'm never going to go for a run. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, but I run a barbershop, or I run a tattoo shop. I run a business. We've got a cocktail bar. Can we just do something? And that's where it was like, people aren't just going to, we got to make it easy for the market. It's like, I'm going to call it the redemption economy. Is like, we just got to figure out a way for people to do what they already love and then plug it in, because it's too expensive for the government. It's too expensive for the church in many ways. It's too expensive for any one person, but like, we all jump in. It's like a 10-on-1 beatdown. So like, let's just beat them up, and that'll take the whole market. And it's like, cool. Well, like, what are people into? Do that. And let's figure out a way to connect the resources of the marketplace with the ministry and the mission of this thing. And let's just see. But that's the only way that I feel like any of this other stuff happens, is like, I just got to raise a few $1 million in 20 years and put that away and let it start kicking it off. And then the good guys got money when they need it. Right now, it's like trying to fundraise and get it to everybody and stay afloat. It's really challenging. But I think as we get there, I think it could be really powerful. So that's, same thing. That's all.
Really does always come down to money, doesn't it? That's what,
for this, yes.
When I met Trent, my manager called me and said, "You're gonna want to talk to this guy." I go, "I am." He goes, "Yeah, you are." I said, "All right." So anyway, figured it'd be a 15-minute conversation. It was an hour and a half, and he had started the conversation with, "I just got back from Mexico with the remains of a 14-year-old for her mother." He used to, with his work in the government, he had dealings with the cartels down in Mexico, and they left him alone because he was with the federal government. They didn't want to stir that hornet's nest. And then when he left the federal government, he went back, and they came over and told him, "This is your one get out of jail free card. You're no longer with the federal government. You come back here again." And anyway, he's been back multiple times, but he's a fearless advocate for the work he believes in. And I said, "What do you want from me?" And he said, "I need to make money. We're a small operation." And
most of these operators, man, they just need the resource to keep doing it.
Yeah,
it's just,
we're doing a golf tournament. We're doing a golf tournament. That's again what you said. Find what people love to do, and
just plug it in, man. Redemption economy, bro. That's it.
Yeah. And September 9th, by the way, if you've listened this far into this conversation, here in Nashville, Dixon, Tennessee, we need to do a video for this September 9th. I need to.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, find at least 72 golfers. I think big, Tommy. I think big. 72. Yeah, if they'd all give like 100,000 each, then we'd make some money.
If only. Yeah. Well, that's not, like, literally, I'm like, I was talking with Against Traffic, my thing that I've been on, and I'll say this just to be like, yo, like, because most people are thinking that way, right? You got to. My thought would be, if I can mobilize the hardcore scene and the music scene, if I can mobilize the heavy music scene, what it looks like is, over the course of this last year during festival season, they sold something like 600, 700,000 tickets to metal concerts all over the country.
Oh, wow.
Right? So if I go, okay, if everybody in the metal scene was able to give 10 or 20 bucks a month for just a couple years, and then they could fizzle out, I think we've got our foundation money.
Right.
I think we've got it. So anyways, I'm like, I get it. It's like, if I get 22 people to just give me 50 grand, it's like, yeah, that is not going to happen probably. But I think I could probably get
negative, Tommy. Why?
I'm not trying to be negative, bro. Hey, God bless you. I hope you guys get all the money. I hope all the golfers show up.
I want 8 guys to give me $1 million each. Why is that such a hard thing to find?
Why is it so hard to figure that out, bro? Hey, it ain't even worth it anymore. What is $1 million worth? 200 grand now? Thanks, guys. Thanks, government or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a golf thing. I don't know how to play golf very well. The last time I did that was a realtor. I'm a realtor here in Salt Lake, and so I went to some like union realtor thing. Me and my brother and my dad and my homie John. I suck. It's great, but I just suck at it. I like driving the cart.
You're with 98% of the people who play golf. I mean, believe me, you're in the majority with
like
that.
2 people.
I was a runner until I had my hip replaced. I ran the marathon here, the Music City, and I hobbled into the bone and joint clinic 2 weeks later because like my legs wouldn't go where I wanted them to go. And he said, well, he said to me, I got guys that cannot walk across my parking lot and can ride a bike for 30 miles. He said, buy a bike.
Yeah.
So I bought a bike, and then I almost got hit on the road three times in 1 week. I threw the bike in the garage, and I said, I'll start another way. But I've since had both hips replaced, and I'm trying not to get I don't want to do another hip. So I'm not running with you. That's my point.
Hey, start swimming, dude. Throw on a Speedo, Jeff. Film that. Let's go.
That's what the world wants. You know, my wife doesn't not want to see me in it.
That's why I was going to bring up your wife. She'll be selling tickets.
I don't know if Christy Green is one of these, but my wife is one of these that she will not let me leave the house until she examines me. You know? Because the way I look is a reflection on her as a wife. That's the way she looks at it. So she'll pick things off my face. She goes, did you even look in the mirror before you left?
You're like, no, not really. Not that hard.
Not at all, baby. So
that's funny.
Well, I got to tell you, man, you're in Salt Lake?
I am in Salt Lake City, Utah, sir.
Well, I'm headed there in August. I want to have lunch.
Let's hang out. Yeah.
I'm going to Provo. Actually at the dry bar there, August.
Sick.
Anyway, one last question here, and then we'll wrap this thing up. It's been an arduous technical climb, to say the least, but I really enjoyed this, Mr. Green. You're an interesting guy, and like most people in the arts, you're a very thoughtful man. And I like the fact that God has given you a very good picture of who you are, you dirtbag. You know,
100%. 100%.
I've always said, "Dust we came, to dust we'll return." We're all dirtbags. That's the way I read.
Ragamuffins, man, from the school of Brendan Manning. We are those whose our cheese is constantly falling off our cracker, dude. We got it. It's all good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't imagine trying to be one of those that have got it all together. I'd rather just tell you the truth, man. I am a mess. I am a hot mess, but the good Lord knows it, and he loves me anyway. Looking back over your career, like you're not even retired. Who wrote this question?
What am I, Redwood? What is going on, dude? What was that question? Yeah, man. Well, all the way back in 2006 when there was
back in 2008 when your career was tanking. Looking back over your career, is there a moment? Yeah, I guess is there a moment where you knew God? I don't think we ever know what God's going to do, but was doing something much bigger than you had ever imagined. Did you go through I was talking about this. We do Bible study at our house on Tuesdays, and we were just talking about this last night. That period when you first experience the joy of this relationship with Christ, as you get 15, 20 years down the road, that initial period, it's almost like everything in your life, you're looking at doors that open, doors that close, things that happen, and my favorite example is the movie Wonderful Life, where George prays and the answer to the prayer is a punch in the mouth. It's a it's a profound moment because it kicks him into another gear, and he goes to suicide and ends up saving another, and it's well known. But so that period, it dissipates. It did in my life, where all of a sudden I became legalistic. God's grace wasn't enough for me. There was a period in my walk that I realized that I could not live sinless, and it was weighing down on me to the point where and then I had a very wise man tell me, so God's grace isn't sufficient. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, sounds to me like you're trying to earn your way in through the proper behavior. And I did have a scorecard, and I wasn't winning, which is really true. I mean, we'll never win. So was there a period like that for you where it's just like you were just so, I mean, I call it the honeymoon phase, man, where you're like, just everything is just so clear and wonderful and beautiful. And then you stumble, you fall, you this and that. Or did you not have to go through all that?
Man, I don't know. I think the first, well, it's two things. I think that in many ways, I still sort of tremble at his name. I'm still pretty into him, and that happened a long time ago. And then I was given language for like the fact that like the love was real. And so there's still a lot, like my homies that are like, grew up with me. They're like, yeah, like Tommy, for some reason will get on stage in front of like these like rugged dudes that are like sketchy. And he sits there and cries about Jesus and talks about his family. And then people are crying and giving their life to Jesus. And I don't know how that happened. So that still happens for me. Like that level of connection of like, don't go talking about him too much or it's going to mess me up. And there's been nothing easy about this thing.
Right.
Like I came out to Salt Lake back where everything fell apart for me. I was in California when the fruit of all these decisions blew up. Came back to Salt Lake fully expecting to get stabbed or shot by old dudes. I thought for sure I was going to have skeletons everywhere. And God has been so cool in that I didn't get what I deserved. But I still had a fractured marriage, and my daughter, who's 26, that relationship with her mom was a cross to carry. The parenting of children, the ups and downs of financial struggles. Chrissy Green and me, at one point, we came home from a barbecue and our condo had flooded, and then there was an insurance battle. So we were homeless for like 11 months. Like there's nothing easy about the circumstances of life. Anytime I could sort of get away to be on the road and do ministry, I was coming home to real stuff everywhere. And so I would say it's both and. No, the honeymoon is not over at all. I'm like so grateful. And dude, it's painful. And all I can offer God is my sin. That's the only thing I get to add to the equation. That's the only thing he can transform that hasn't been transformed yet, is all the bad decisions I'm about to make as a Christian. Like there should be a scorecard. Like I'm good. Like I want to show him I love him by how I live. So like, yeah, please keep score. And I know I'm going to fail, but like help me. So no, the honeymoon is not over. Yeah. But bro, the honeymoon's over. Like it is, I've gone through enough to know it's like I've got a wife that's super into me and I'm super into her. And by the grace of God, we've been married for 20 plus years and we still really like each other. That feels similar to what I've been able to keep as I've been sifted like wheat. There's still a deep love for Christ. And I feel it both ways sometimes. But bro, my whole worldview has shifted, going from like kind of more non-denominational, non-religious, like whatever, to becoming an Eastern Orthodox Christian. Like now it all looks religious as hell, but it is like fully mystical and beautiful and liturgical and wonderful. And it's like practice. It's like going to the gym. Like I know what I'm doing. So that got way cool. But bro, I've had to leave behind so much like hype and things that used to land. And I realized I was fully up my own butt around my own Christianity so many times. And it's like, oh, thank God for saving me from me. Cause that was a joke. And look at who I was riding with. Those dudes are fake. What am I doing? So I'm really grateful. That's what I'm trying to say, Jeff, and glory to God. Right.
That's I picked up on that. Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to tell you, Tommy, you need to cheer up a little bit. You know, you didn't want to end this interview on a bummer and a down note.
I didn't. Like, it's fine.
God is great. God is good.
God is great. God is good. Let us thank him for our food. Amen. Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking of the story when my wife and I were in marriage counseling, and at some point the counselor asked her, "What do you want from our time together?" And she pointed at me and said, "I want him to be the way he was when we were dating. He was so much nicer than," you know. And she said, "It's not realistic. It's not realistic, you know." And it's that's an illusion.
Who was this counselor? Hey, who was this counselor you're seeing?
But it was so funny because, well, Scott Peck wrote in his book, Road Less Traveled, that true love cannot begin till conflict enters a relationship. There's no such thing as a conflict-free, loving relationship. And you see it all chased on the internet. This illusion. Scott Peck said it was the illusion put there by God to keep the species going. That warm fuzzy, you know, when you first meet. That's the art of attraction. And Solomon talks about it in the Song of Solomon, Song of Songs, the art of attraction. You know, that's what gets us there. But the real meat comes with the conflict. And then the fact that somebody gets to know you, like Christy Green knows you, and she still says she loves you, and she still is there. I mean, that you can't purchase that. You can't buy it. It's a gift of grace. And then you see that Tammy, after 25 or 30 years of walking with Jesus, has finally accepted the fact that her Heavenly Father loves her.
Yeah.
Because the damage that her earthly father did to her. It was hard to get her head around the fact that there could be a father that would love her as a daughter like that. It's a lifelong process. And I'm telling you, man, just talking to you today, it's been an inspiration. I'm so glad that
thanks, man. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. It's awesome.
I'm a loss for words, which is rare. Not really. I babble all day long to myself. Nobody listens to me.
Put your headphones in, dude. Otherwise, people are going to take you away.
I talked to the corn at the grocery store. I remember when it was 49 cents a can. What is this? $1.89. Tell me there's no inflation in this country, you rat bastards. You know. So anyway, my favorite term I got out of New York, rat bastard. You know, I didn't get much from living in Jersey, but that one stuck.
That's awesome. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Really good one. Well, anyway, where can they find your music? On the Spotify?
Yeah, Spotify, YouTube, all that stuff. So the band that I was in that we just got back together and did some reunion shows is called Sleeping Giant. And then the band that I'm in currently too is called HolyName. And we are about to play a couple shows at the House of Blues in Anaheim, California with Flyleaf at the end of this month. So HolyName and Sleeping Giant are the bands. And they can find that anywhere.
He knows these groups.
Yeah.
They opened for Barry Manilow, Christian.
Of course they did. That's absolutely true. It was Barry Manilow and Carmen, which was a great tour. I got him. Yeah, right. I got him on that one. That was sick.
Oh my gosh! Well, we got to have lunch. We got to break bread, my man.
Hey, call me
And Chris out to the show in Provo if you want to make the drive down there to see some 100%. Comedy. And
love it,
man. I hope that we can keep in touch. Carolyn, if you don't mind, we'll exchange numbers and stuff. And
thank you, Carolyn. You rule. Thank you.
Keep in touch. She does. She's the best, and she is trying to get me into that Orthodox thing. And it's just
come home, baby. Tell Tammy, come home. Tammy's already better at it than you are. I guarantee it.
Tell her to come on. It would probably fit her better. She's into ritual and being.
Come on.
To clinically.
It's so beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's the OCD part that I think would attract her. But the standing for all those hours.
Hey, you don't gotta. You guys don't gotta.
No.
You guys can just sit.
I'm old. Look at me. Look at me. This is your future, Tommy Green.
You got to start swimming, dude. You got to start swimming.
Future, Tommy Green. Look at this.
It's all good, bro. Hey,
it doesn't get you repenting. Nothing will.
I already repented before. It's fine.
I have a feeling you have. So, well, God bless you. And by the way, this is kind of probably start us down another rabbit hole. But your parents, did you ever kind of reconcile with them? I know you've forgiven them. You couldn't be where you're at today without that. But
for sure, man. Went through it all. Yeah, my mom and my stepdad are here in Salt Lake. They've been back here for 15, 16 years. It's been awesome. My mom and I are really tight in terms of they adopted my little sister when I was 14. We were there when she was born. And so she's I've watched her as like a parent even figure out the stuff. Like the minute that they just stopped being crazy, I stopped doing drugs and stuff. And she was like, God, it was almost like as soon as you were allowed to just express some part of this, you started making better quality decisions. I was like, well, yeah, because I wasn't in like freaking out. Anyways, my mom and Dawn and I are great. And then my dad and my stepmom, they moved here in the mid 90s with the railroad. So I would come here for summer visits. And then now we've all ended up in the same place. So yeah, my dad, my stepmom, and my two little brothers were out here. And so, yeah, man, I feel very grateful because like I said, you stay alive and then you watch God slowly. He makes sense of a lot of the chaos if you'll just stay alive long enough. Like, I can't remember who said it. It's like life will teach you how to live it, so you just got to give yourself some time. So,
man, that's great to hear. Well, God bless you, young man.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate you.
I will see you in August next month.
Absolutely. Thank you again. I was really honored. Thank you.
And everybody, this was our podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment, subscribe, do all the stuff you're supposed to do. And we even like hate mail. It doesn't matter. It moves the algorithm. So just send all your hate to Carolyn because she gets upset for me. I don't even. I'm sorry, but yeah, we try to please everybody, but we're not naive. We know that everybody has different tastes and stuff. So I enjoyed today's conversation immensely. I hope you did. And I hope if you stuck this far, then obviously you probably did enjoy it. But share it. That helps with us. And we need sponsors to help pay for this. Nordic Wave is not doing it, man. Nobody's buying the cold plunge. Tommy, you need a cold plunge. Jeff 150, save $150. They're only $7,000, believe it or not.
Dude, I have a freezer in my backyard. We customized a freezer in my backyard. There ain't no way I'm gonna spend. I mean, I totally would for Nordic Wave, 100%. Hey guys, Jeff,
you whore. I appreciate you whoring yourself for me.
That's so good, dude. Hey, that's the one. That's the one to get for sure. Jeff 150 for sure. It'll go all the way down to 42 degrees. It's going to be sick. It won't freeze over at all. Does it help you? No. Does it not help you? No. It's fine. You guys just do it. It's great. It's really, really good. It'll help all you dudes that are struggling with lust. Apparently, that's what we talked about at the beginning of the program.
Freeze your nads off. You can't use them. All right. God bless you guys. We're going down another rabbit hole. We'll see you in August, Tommy. God bless you.